A super easy way to start a panel discussion is with a poll. Actually, you can use a poll at the beginning. You can use it in the middle. You can use it towards the end. My name is Kristin Arnold, and I am a master facilitator and a leading expert on moderating panel discussions. And, taking a poll is a great way to involve the audience. Let's find out more. Okay, so let's talk about the different ways that you can take a poll. Obviously, by a show of hands. That's the easiest one. By the way, if you take a poll in a panel discussion, let's say a 60-minute panel discussion, and you have asked for a show of hands or any kind of polling technique, the same polling technique, 3 times, you're done. Do not do it more than that. You're overusing this technique to involve the audience. So show of hands, it's the easiest. People are most comfortable doing it. They'll do it the first time. They might do it the second time, the third time. It's like, eh. And if they don't even know that you're looking at their answers, that's why we have the process. We're going to get to that later on in this video. So show of hands is one way. Another way that you can take a poll is, especially with small audiences, is you can go around the room and just say, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Agree, disagree, yes, no. You can use your thumbs. Thumbs up, thumbs down, undecided, you decide. Thumb up, thumb to the side, thumb down. Now that doesn't work well for audiences that more than, let's say 100, maybe 200 at the max, because you can't really see the thumbs. But in smaller audiences, that'll work. You could have people stand up. I keep thinking, stand up, sit down, fight, fight, fight. Stand up if you agree. Stay seated if you disagree. You can have people make some noise. Clap if you agree. Don't clap if you don't agree. Well, the noise level will tell you, is it more in agreement or not? Or the passion in the room, is it more or not? Another noise that you could use is to hum. Hum if you agree. What I like about humming is that I can look around the room, and if you're clapping, I can see if you're clapping. If I want something that's a little bit more private, hum if you agree. Okay, some of you might like that idea. Some of you might go, Kristin, are you crazy? It's a possibility, is it not? You can do a shout out. If somebody agrees, say, oh yes.
Oh yes.
If they don't agree, say no way.
No
and what's
way.
interesting about that is the strength of their conviction comes out in what you hear, the cacophony of sounds. You could ask the audience to shout out a number on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, where 1 is the least and 5 or 10, whatever your scale is the most. So you have to give them the scale. Shout out on a count of 3. Where are you in that scale? You can use some response cards. So I just printed up these cards. Green is I agree or yes. On the other side, I have 5. You could have yellow cards, which say neutral or maybe medium. I have red cards that say disagree low, disagree no or low. I have them stapled together so that each person has one of these at their seat. And you could use response cards to say, so are you in agreement? Yes or no? Or no, this is no. Yes or no, or maybe it's neutral. Have people wave this. So it's a nice way with groups that are maybe, well, even small groups, but when you've got groups between like 100, maybe 300, you can see the sea of color. It's awesome. Similar to the cards, you can also use flags. I love using flags because, the nice thing about flags, just like cards, you can wave cards, but flags, woo! And I can see the enthusiasm of waving a flag. It's another way of taking a poll. Now, obviously with cards and flags, you have to really have this thought out, but it's a great way of polling people. Now, let's say you don't want to use props. You can use electronic polling. Whether it's any of your meeting apps usually have a polling feature. I like using Slido, SLI.do. It's my favorite. But that's also another way that you can poll, especially when you have a large audience. Especially when you have a large audience. So those are just some ideas right off the top of my head. Are there any other ways that you've seen moderators poll the audience? I'd love to know. Just put it in the notes below. And if you happen to be down there, that would be great if you would like this video and maybe even subscribe to this channel. That'd be awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about the process that you should use. It's more than just asking the question. As you ask the question, your well thought out question, that is a closed question. It means it requires somebody to say yes, no, maybe, agree, disagree, neutral. You have the options in your head on a continuum, on a scale of 1 to 5. You have it in your head that what the question is and that it is a closed question. As you're asking the question, you model the behavior that you're looking for. So if you're looking for a show of hands, you actually put your hand up. Use a flag. You'll actually wave the flag so that people kind of put the idea of what they need to be doing in a more kinesthetic and visual perspective. So you've asked the question, you're modeling the behavior, and then they answer the poll. Now, here's the piece that I see a lot of people, not just panel moderators, but just anybody who's taking a poll, whether it's in a speech or a presentation or in a town hall meeting, is they neglect to share the results. Because you, being at the front, are able to see, oh my gosh, about 80% of you are waving your green flag. There's about 10% that are yellow and another 10% that's red. Because if I'm sitting in the audience and I'm waving a flag and everybody else is waving the same color, I may or may not see what the other side of the room is saying. So it's helpful to report out the results. And then if there's any implications, and this is a great way to then look at the panelists and say, so what does this tell us? Especially if you're at the beginning of a panel discussion, you might want to actually take a poll about who's in the audience. You know, we're talking about this topic. How many of you are brand new to this topic? You're a novice. You are starting at ground zero. How many of you are just started on your journey? You have just enough information to be dangerous. How many of you consider yourself to be an expert? Or how many of you think that you should be on this panel? You know so much. And then you can take a poll based on those different segments. So you explain what it is that you're going to be taking a poll on, and then you take the poll and then you look at the panelists and you go, so what does this tell us? Oh my gosh, there's a lot more knowledgeable people in this audience. So we're going to aim our conversation at a higher level. Or, oh my gosh, there's a lot of new people. So we're going to aim our conversation at a more introductory level. That's very, very helpful for both the panelists to know and for the audience. You know, I love polling. It is an easy way, an intentional way of involving the audience in a meaningful way. Well, your question should be meaningful, especially with virtual panels. I think it's a great way to involve the audience. It's a great way to connect the audience to the topic. It's a great way to connect the panelists to the audience. But here's the real key, is that you, the panel moderator and the panelists, want to know the answer to the question. Don't do polling just because it's gratuitous or, we need to involve the audience somehow, so we're going to ask some stupid question. The audience doesn't appreciate it. What they appreciate is when you've crafted a well thought out question that benefits the audience, the panelists, and moves the conversation forward. I hope you got some good ideas from this. If you're interested in finding out more about how to moderate a panel, just go to my website, www.howtomoderateapanel.com, where I invite you to subscribe to a 7-part free video series on how to moderate a panel. Hey, thanks for watching.